I'm quite nervous also about DVD of the week because there's a joke in here which I don't think I can deliver. No change there, I hear you cry. But
well done for getting in before anybody managed to say that.
Exactly. So here we go, DVD of the week. Well, Mark, Respect finally out this week then. Top review, of course. Interesting chat with Jennifer earlier. One of Aretha's backing singers was one Cissy Houston. Mother of whom, Mark?
Well, I presume mother of Whitney.
Yes, that's right. Whitney Houston. Queen of Soul, knew Whitney when she was still in pigtails. Which reminds me, Mark, what was Whitney Houston's favourite type of coordination?
I don't know.
I mean, I'll tell you what it's got here. It goes, hand, sing it like Whitney. It says, sing it like Whitney.
Was that the one that you thought you couldn't pull off?
Well, because, I mean, manifestly I can't. Manifestly, that's...
Do you want to do it again?
No, I messaged Simon Paul and I said, over to you on this one. And he said, I can't be heard via our new recording system, which is pathetic. Anyway, it's rubbish. Anyway, it's not all been jollity this week, Mark. I got accused of being a plagiarist. I mean, their words, not mine. Hang on a moment. Some breaking news.
Yes.
Just before we head into your DVD of the week choices. This just in, Mark. Yes. A truck full of guitar pedals has crashed on the northbound carriageway of the M1 after junction 24. Expect delays.
Very good, very good.
Just
that
so
is actually
clear,
good. That's good. That's a good gag.
If you are listening in the car, there hasn't been a crash. That's not travel news. It isn't something that tends to feature in podcasts.
No.
What with us not knowing what the current situation is on the roads.
No, I thought they were going to say something like we're waiting for feedback or something. But no, expect delays is very good.
Expect delays. Many years ago, our first year at Radio 1, and so we're talking about 86, 87. Steve Wright, I was sent to join Steve Wright on an outside broadcast from Cardiff.
Yes.
And I can't remember why we were doing it. And it was to go out at Christmas, but we were recording it 3 weeks before. But Steve still, and quite brilliantly, managed to put in weather. He put in the weather because he expressed it in such a way that it was always true. Whatever it was, whatever was happening 3 weeks later, Steve's weather forecast recorded 3 weeks earlier.
That of course that's a plot point of the Steve Martin film LA Story, isn't it? In which he's the LA weatherman, in which the weather is always the same. It's always hot, and there's a thing when he goes, so the weather is this, the weather this week, the weather dropped by 1 degree. We now go live to a woman who closed her windows. Is that right? You closed your windows? Yes, and that was fine. And then he decides that he can go on holiday, so he just pre-records the weather, which is Scorchio, 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 and then he goes away and there's a hurricane.
Yeah. Well, I love that film. I haven't seen it for ages, but there's a sequence in that where they make a joke of the fact that there are all the coffee choices, I think, from the waiter are baffling. And back in the day when we were watching it, we were going, well, that's ludicrous. I mean, you either have coffee with milk and sugar or you don't. And now, of course, we've caught them up. So that scene is probably not as funny. There's
also a good joke in it when he goes up to the cash point and the guy stands behind him and says, "Good evening, my name's Jeff. I'm going to be your mugger for the evening." He says, "Oh, thank you very much," and gives him $20.
Good. I'd forgotten that too. Anyway, listen, the music's finished. That's how long we've been rabbiting. Anyway, so some choices here. Penfold says, "I adored Nobody. Admittedly, I've not seen the other two, but unless they feature someone hunting down evil perpetrators after taking an innocent child's kitty cat bracelet, nobody wins." Okay.
Yep.
Peter Jameson, Dream Horse is an enjoyable by the numbers UK comedy in the brassed off Full Monty vein. If Pete Postlethwaite was still alive, he'd have been in it. Nobody, for all the action, the best bits is when the Russian boss does his karaoke. Mark Burchell, I'm going for the early Universal Volume 1. 3 beautiful restored silent features that includes early boxing film The Shakedown. Can I just say there's interesting, Peter says, if Pete Postlethwaite was still alive, movies can be divided, even new releases to this day can be divided into movies in which you could easily insert Pete Postlethwaite and those that you couldn't. Because most movies were improved with Pete Postlethwaite.
Pete Postlethwaite. Yes.
Anyway, what's our DVD of the week?
Well, it's Nobody. I love Nobody. But the Russian mobster karaoke scene is brilliant. The scene on the bus is brilliant. The scene in the warehouse is brilliant. The scene in the house is brilliant. Everything about that film is brilliant. I love Nobody. It's great.